I guess like the one that really like opened my eyes for me was just the project that I was helping Harjeet design when I was in Dharamshala. And this was not supposed to be my main project, but it kind of just like became the main project that I was helping with. And it was called Sehat Seva. And Seva is basically short for social entrepreneurship and volunteer action. So Sehat Seva was born during COVID when they were doing some other kinds of projects in the communities in response to COVID, like just disaster relief stuff in partnership with the government and the Red Cross. And something that was just kind of surfaced was lack of care for the elderly, especially in like the rural villages. And really at the core of that was also like a lack of belonging with their family and like having that support system there because a lot of the kids are starting to move to the cities and there's just like a disconnect in the family where there's not really that aspect of intergenerational bonding anymore. And out of that bonding, there's care. So this project, said Seva, was aimed at training people from these villages community health and then creating like an establishment that these kind of community workers could work under within those villages. So I'll go into that a little bit more in detail, but the basic premise was everything that we need to know to deliver this kind of care is already there in the communities, right? It's not like we need to get a grant from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and then do some kind of intervention and then produce a report after. It was like, okay, so the government has hospitals here that already have courses. There's people in the communities, this is a possible avenue. If they get trained as a community health worker, they could go and deliver that care and also make some money. So it was very much like going into the communities, talking to different people, not only like elderly that would be patients, but also like community health workers that would be trained. And then it was also sitting at the government offices trying to convince them like, hey, could you give us these courses for this kind of group of people for free and give that training in the hospitals so that way we can go and do this kind of thing that would just benefit everybody. So it was just a genius design program because to get a huge amount of money and then go into a community and then like hire people to do something and then build something with infrastructure, it
Yeah.
was just like people volunteering to do this or do something like this and like kind of gift the program training to community health workers in like a small cohort. And then we educare, like we created like a council of elders that would work with the community health workers trained in what's called Sehat Seva Sanstan, which translates to organization. So like it would be the establishment and it would have like a physical office within the cluster of 3 villages and the community health workers would be able to like work out of there. So each satellite office would cater to like 3 villages in the area, and there would be like maybe 3 from each village that would be part of that smaller satellite office, and they would be able to deliver care in alliance with the elderly council.
Mm.
So it was just like, wow, you really don't need these giant interventions
Yeah.
and all those kinds of things that development theory teaches, and everything in a sense was already there that Harjeet was able to design into the system. And the one of the most eye-opening things for me was how he wasn't really a part of that system. He was just kind of the one that like saw the pieces, brought it together, made it happen. One thing in development that I'm very interested in is just like the power dynamics of how all this works. When you go in with money or when you go into a community trying to do something, it creates like that power over power dynamic. And then it's you're kind of doing things for these people instead of with these people. So you're not really empowering anybody. You may not have like a sustainable intervention because you're kind of giving it to them and expecting them to sustain it without actually them wanting to or even knowing like what is happening.
Yeah.
So it's not grassroots at all. But what Harjeet was weaving together was grassroots in my mind. And it just was clearly the better way to do things.